So folks, you've unboxed your first pinball machine. In this case, it's a Stern. And you're ready to give it a first time startup and to give it its first software update. What to do? Don't worry. I'm here. I'll walk you through it. And I'll also give you some commentary on Stern updates in general and what I think of the new Stranger Things Playfield. The switch is right here in the back. So there's actually a really neat upgrade I'm going to show you later of how to make these remote controlled. I'll do that in a follow-up video though. So don't hunt underneath the cab for the switch. It's right on the right side underneath the back box. Takes a little while to boot up, so if you don't see immediate stuff, you saw it takes a couple seconds. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Stranger Things USA version 0.84. Code's actually not that far behind, actually. All right, so guided setup. Now what we're gonna have to do, open up the cabinet here. Stern has actually finally labeled the buttons here for the service menu. That's kind of really nice. That's a good touch. Nice job, Stern. So generally you're controlling volume and you're entering and exiting the menu. So let's see. The guided setup. The language that I want this in is definitely going to be English. So we want to do next. Country is definitely USA. Next. Free play. Yeah, we do want free play actually. Next. Game volume. That sounds fine for now. Next. Set date time. 11:38. Now, an interesting thing, some Stern games actually have a Midnight Madness mode. Did you know this? There's a Midnight Madness mode in some games. Munsters has it for sure. I'm not sure if Stranger Things has it yet, but basically, stroke of midnight, roughly, give or take 5-10 minutes. All action will stop on the table, and you'll go into a special midnight multi-ball mode. It's really kind of neat. The first time it happened on my Munsters, I thought I broke the game because the game just stops, all the power goes out, and it has you sit there for like 5 seconds, and then the game comes back alive, and there's this special sequence. It's really kind of neat. So hopefully Stranger Things gets something like that. And while I was talking, a minute went by. All right, that should be next and exit. Guided setup completed. Now I'm actually going to turn the game off. And I'm going to turn it back on. This is just to make sure that I go through a nice full power on, power off cycle. On some Stern games, the things like changing of the date, time, and everything doesn't actually take effect until the next full reboot. So if you're trying to activate something like a Midnight Madness multi-ball mode or something, and you just push the clock forward, exit out of the menu, and then start playing, you're not necessarily going to get the effect that you thought you were going to get. You need to set the time, exit the menu, power the machine off, then power it back on, and then you will potentially get that mode that you were looking for. Now that I've done that, I'm going to power it off one more time because we've got an update that we want to apply. So when downloading the updates, it's pretty straightforward. You go to sternpinball.com, you click on support on the right-hand side, then click game code. If it's not there, don't worry, you can filter by a couple different things and you can find the code pretty easily. After downloading, you'll get a zip file. Usually the file name is something to the effect of table name underscore LE or underscore pro. Usually the premium and the LE have the same file, but just double check that when you download that you're downloading the file that you think you need for your machine. It'll end in .zip, have the table name and the version number. When you open the zip file, you will have one or more update files, and you're just going to want to take these and do a copy and go to your FAT32 USB thumb drive that's no bigger than 32 gig, and you're going to want to paste those files onto your thumb drive. Again, make sure it's 32 gig or less, and that it is FAT32 formatted, and you shouldn't have any problems. Once you've downloaded the update to an appropriate USB stick and you're good to go, you're going to want to actually install it on the game. The USB area is behind the back glass, which you can get to by turning the key, bringing the speaker panel down. You want to kind of let it gently rest. It is on strings, but these will easily snap if you just drop it. Plus, you don't want the key to be scratching the glass, so be careful of that there. Now, to get the back glass off, once you brought the speaker grill down, you simply, there's a lip here. You're going to want to lift that lip and then pull outward and gently bring the glass out. I'm going to put this on a tripod and show you it with both hands because that's the right and proper way to do it. So we're going to take this down temporarily. Very carefully, we're going to move the back box. Be careful with these connectors. I've seen reports on Pinside of people being really quick with the both the Ethernet and with the USB connectors. People being quick with pulling these out and actually ripping the connectors straight out of the board. So be a little careful with it. From what I understand, people haven't been abusing them, but they're not necessarily in there very stable. So just be careful is all. All right, and we'll go ahead and turn this back on. The update should be fairly automatic. Folks, I apologize. As you can see, game code update, invalid SPK file. I've gone through a couple iterations with what turned out to be a bad USB drive. The files were kind of flaky on there. Windows was even having trouble with the drive for a little while. So I'm just going to try a completely different drive. Plug this in. And we will flip this guy on. I'm going to go to the code update. I want to do full with verify. So reason why I like to do full with verify is because if you are having things like a glitchy USB thumb drive or something like that, it's going to verify that the unpack worked. It's going to flash everything to the memory on the pinball hardware. Then it's going to actually go and verify that the memory matches what's on the stick or matches what it's supposed to from factory. So generally speaking, you can do your updates blind. I don't like to. I kind of want to make sure everything got updated and that everything matched what Stern thinks it should match. So a word on code updates while this is going on. So this is currently, it came with 8.84. This is updating it to 0.85, so this minor polish, minor bug fixes, that kind of thing. There's a README that'll tell you everything about it. Generally speaking, Stern's practice is it'll actually ship tables before the code is complete. So the code will be complete enough to play, complete enough for you to start enjoying the table, but maybe all the modes aren't finalized, maybe even some of the end modes that you can stack to get to, maybe they're not even in there yet. So the gameplay can change. Obviously the table itself doesn't change, but you might get more call outs, you might get more audio, you might get more video, you might get some additional modes, or the way the multi-balls or the scoring works could change in between versions. Once the table hits 1.0 software version, Stern considers it basically done. Doesn't mean that there won't be other updates. There's lots of examples of Munsters, for example, has had some code updates after 1.0 that added some extra features for the topper and things like that. but didn't really extensively change gameplay. Ghostbusters actually received, after about 2 years, received a huge update. Not only finished the game, but also completely retooled the way certain aspects of the game worked. Took it from a table where people wanted to love it but couldn't, to a table that people just went mad about. A lot of people super raved about it. So there can be code updates after 1.0, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Stern thinks at 1.0 it's done. I would definitely say if you get a table and it's not on a 1.0 firmware yet, you should go to sternpinball.com, check to see if there is an update. And if not, hold tight, subscribe to their page for updates, and keep an eye out, because there could be a big difference in the game from, non 1.0 to 1.0. A lot of final features and polish and tuning really goes into that last mile. A lot of folks are still hoping that Monsters gets an update. A lot of people are considering it not finished, even though Stern's officially said that it's finished. Personally, I enjoy the game as it is. It's a favorite of most of the people that come to visit. It's got a very simple rule set. It's very straightforward. That said, some people's biggest complaints, which I think are somewhat valid, maybe it's a bit too simple. Maybe it doesn't have enough theme content. It could use a lot more clips from the show and things like that. I think that's valid feedback, valid criticism. But check out this playfield while we're still waiting for the update to go. Look, this is the Munsters playfield that I'm showing you right now. Now, some of these are mods that I did myself. For example, the Munsters coach car over the shooter lane, that's a mod that I did. The kitty in the back and the googly eye on the pop bumper is a mod that I did. The 3D protruding pipe with the green ooze is a mod that I did. The Mockingbird lane lamppost is a mod that I did. So minus those, everything else, the big giant Herman Basher toy, Grandpa sitting over his lab, the entire lower playfield. There's just a lot to see here. This is a really nice, complete, package. The ramps look really nice in terms of the color, the bronze kind of color that they got going on there. It's just a beautiful playfield. Taking a look now at the Stranger Things playfield. Yeah, not quite as much going on. Granted, I don't have all the mods and everything going for it. I don't have side blades for it. But I mean, look at those ramps. The ramps are pretty sterile. The projector looks a bit washed out. We'll see a little bit more of that later. But yeah, this is with the game actually running. So I took this in advance. I took this after the update. So spoiler alert, the update goes just fine in the end. I mean, there is the Demogorgon in the back, which I think is a majority of the, where a majority of the time was spent, that and on the projector. But other than that, not really a lot of toys. In fact, the best toy is actually hidden, and the projector's not quite doing as much work as I wish it was doing. I mean, why don't we have graphics up here? Why don't we have graphics on the ramp? Why don't we have graphics on the spinner during the idle part and the drop targets? How come these leaf switches don't have graphics? And it's not a bad playfield. I mean, you got all the characters are there. Season 1 and 2 materials are supported. You got a Demogorgon in the back. But they're going with this whole, the apron projects onto the playfield different images. And that includes the ramps, and the projection screen and the drop targets. There's lots of reliance on the projector to actually drive a lot of the graphics, and so there's not really much in the way of toys. And so with the machine off, it just ends up looking kind of barren and sterile. The upshot of this is that through code, right, like maybe they could add season 3 materials, and they can add different video, they could add different ramp graphics and things like that. So certainly this is more versatile, lends itself more to a digital age where software updates are the norm. But yeah, with it off, it's kind of not impressive. We're verifying, my verifying. So you'll notice that I broke my rule, and I've got the camera actually resting on the glass of another pinball table to actually be the tripod for me shooting this pinball table. Normally I say don't put anything on the glass, so I'm breaking my rule, but there's actually a microfiber drop cloth on the glass that my little Osmo tracking tripod is sitting on top of. So I protected the glass, but generally speaking, avoid the need to put anything on the glass. All right, update complete. Remove USB memory stick. Be very careful. Some people are reporting that these pop out when they remove the USB. So, power cycle off. And folks, I'm feeling lucky. So I'm gonna put this back on there. There we go, 11. Leave that in there for now. Power cycle the game back on. Oh snap. This is not what I intended to do at all. That is not what I intended to do. I still had some Munsters game code on here. I thought that this would be smart enough to pick up the Stranger Things code. Apparently it was not. So lesson learned here, if you're going to reuse a thumb drive that you're using for other games, make sure to wipe the other game's files off of it first. I'll be right back. All right, so our update is done, and we're gonna go ahead and remove the memory stick, and we're gonna power cycle the game. Wait for all the lights on the board to go out. Bring it back. See what we got going on here. That, my friends, is more like it. It's looking like Stranger Things. Updating node board runtime. Update successful. Please wait. Bam. Everything is lighting up. Okay, I'm going to put the back box back on it. So people are talking about the projector looking washed out. So this is with the normal lighting on. I'm using blue lighting. So this is Philips Hue lighting. So right now this is daylight balanced. Let me show you what it would look like with incandescent. I'm going to turn off my filming light, which is also daylight balanced. So with incandescent lighting, this is about what your projector would look like. So if you go to regular daylight balance lighting or daylight itself, this is what the projector would look like. And this is actually with my mood lighting. So in my actual arcade lighting, I'll be honest, I haven't dialed this in at all, so I've done nothing to kind of tweak and optimize this. I can say right off the bat, it is quite a bit more washed out than what I would like to see. There are some mods online where people have kind of made it a lot brighter. They've used different material to kind of help saturate the colors a bit better. I'll give it a try. and see. I'm also noticing with the default glass that I have here, not the Invisiglass, I am noticing that the glare from the back box onto the playfield does kind of contest with the projector. So I might actually try to swap my Invisiglass from the Munsters over to this one just to see if it helps, and then if it does, maybe I'll upgrade. So folks, there you have it. We went from the unboxing to the setup to the first time configuration and the code update. At this point, all it's left to do is play it, but we'll save that for a follow-up video.